Kia ora. The question cards. Right, let's dig into the question cards and how they relate to your reflection. So here's what you need to know. Your reflection, that's part 2 of the Tapatoru portfolio, is a conversation that you have with us with a focus on 4 specific questions. There's some flexibility when it comes to these questions, and we've touched on that before briefly. What we've done is to create a very cool pack of cards that allows you to construct the questions that you want to work with within the parameters of the Tapatoru. So this is what they look like. You can download the templates and print out and cut out your own. And I know some of you have already done that, so that's fantastic. But here's how the cards work. First of all, you need to separate out the cards by color. Here, the blue cards are the start of each question. There's 6 altogether, so you'll end up discarding 2 of these that you don't use. Then there are 4 purple cards. These form the middle sections of your questions, so you can experiment with pairing them up in different ways. And then there are 5 yellow cards that make up the final part of each question. So you'll need to use 4 out of the 5 here and just discard the one that you don't use. There are a bunch of yellow cards. These are prompts just to get you thinking and talking and answering with a few more details. You or a partner can select the prompts that work best for you. Some are in English, some are in Te Reo, and others have more of a Pacific focus. So again, use the ones that are relevant to you and your context. So here's an example of a single question that you might come up with. How have you maintained the wairua or spirituality or well-being of your learners when you facilitated learning and or learning support? And here's a whole set of 4 questions that someone might use as the basis for their reflection in the Tapatoru portfolio. You can see some of the cards that were discarded below, as well as a couple of the question cards here. Here's a close-up of 2 of the question cards, and like I said, there are others, including from a Māori or a Pacific point of view. Now, if we were doing this in person, what I'd normally do right now is get you to work together in pairs or small groups, or sit with me and have a go at putting together a set of question cards for yourself. However, since we can't easily do that over video, I'm going to suggest that if you haven't already, you download the template, print it out on card or paper, and then cut out and make your own set of Tapatoru cards. And then just have a play. So a good idea is to use your phone and take a photo of whatever you've come up with, your set of cards, your set of questions, and just keep that on your phone as a record for yourself. You don't have to settle on any particular combination of questions right now. You can have a play around with the combinations before you decide what you want to use in your portfolio. So just as a quick thought exercise, let's have a look at one of these potential questions. Again, this works better if you do it yourself in the real world, perhaps with a colleague or one of your managers. Here's the question. How have you protected mana or self-esteem when you assessed or gave feedback? Now, if you have a story about this, if you can tell a real story or give us your specific examples or narratives about how you protected the mana of your specific learners, these are real people in the real world, when assessing, then you've already got the kind of evidence that we're looking for. Some of you will be able to think of things straight away. Others, it might take a bit of time to unpack what you know and do. Here's another question. How have you maintained the wairua or spirituality of your learners when you facilitated learning and or teaching? We won't go into it now, but if you come back and watch this again, pause the video here and take some time to think about this. Again, the kind of evidence that we want is from real life, what you actually do that works and gets results and that is supported by what we already know is good practice. We want to hear stories about your learners. Obviously, don't use real names, but we want to hear what you do in the real world. And when we have our kōrero or talanoa with you, we'll be expecting you to unpack these examples and stories a little bit and take us through some of your professional learning journey. I've already said that we want to hear the real life scenarios and evidence, but here's one more thing to think about today. However you decide to formulate your questions, you'll need to pick 2 scenarios for each question for your learning and teaching support work, and use these to illustrate what you know and actually do. And we'll be asking you to reflect on what's worked for you, so you'll need to say what you've learned and perhaps what you've changed as a result of your learning as a professional. So that's it in a nutshell. That's all for today. Ka kite anō.